Hi, I'm author Bobby Pyron, and I am so thrilled that my book Stay is a finalist for the Texas Bluebonnet Award and also the Texas Horned-Toad Tales Award. I thought what I would do this morning in our little book talk corner here is tell you a little bit about my book Stay, but I'm also going to tell you about one of my favorite books that is also on the award list. So Stay is the story of Piper and her family who have found themselves in a very difficult situation through no fault of their own. Like many people living in the United States, they had a series of unpredictable events happen to them. Their father lost their job, and her mother's hours were cut at her job, and her brother had an asthma attack that required a hospital stay, and they had no health insurance. And so because of all this cascade of events that happen, they find themselves without a home, living out of their car and in a city far, far away from their little Louisiana town. Piper and her family do eventually end up living in a family shelter, and it's just such a difficult experience for her. At the same time, the story is also about this little dog named Baby that you can see here on the cover, who is just absolutely adorable. And he lives with his person Jewel. And they are also experiencing homelessness. But because Jewel has Baby, they can't go into a shelter and winter is coming on. And so they live in a city park with several other people who are homeless and their pets. So Baby and Piper become friends, and Piper is making her way in a new school and so forth. And then their paths intertwine, their stories intertwine when Baby and Jewel become separated. And Piper and her friends do everything that they possibly can to try and get Baby and Jewel back together. The way I wrote this book is it's told from what we call alternating points of view. So one chapter is told from through Piper's eyes, and then the next chapter is told through Baby's eyes. Stay is very much a story of our times, but it's also a story of hope and friendship and resilience and the power of the difference that just one person can make. Now, one of the other books that's on the Texas Bluebonnet Award list is A Place to Land by Barry Wittenstein, and it's illustrated by one of my very favorite illustrators, Jerry Pinkney. One of my favorite types of books to read is picture book biographies, because very often not only do they have great illustrations, but they also will take some nugget of a well-known person's life, like Martin Luther King Jr., and zero in on that, and you learn things that you didn't know, details about a certain thing that you didn't know. And in this book, A Place to Land, the focus, Wittenstein's focus is on how Martin Luther King Jr. Came up with his speech, his very, very famous speech at the March on Washington in 1963. He had given his I Have a Dream speech, which I think is the one that we all know so well, many times before. And his advisors, when he was trying to decide what to say at this March on Washington the next day, they said, don't do the I Have a Dream speech again. Everybody's heard it. You need to talk about this. You need to talk about that. But Martin said, and I know as a writer this is true, that often the hardest part about writing something is knowing how to end it, where to land. and he was having so much trouble when he was writing that speech that night. And so when he was speaking the next day before a crowd of over 250,000 people, he still didn't know where to land until somebody called out, "Tell him, Martin, tell him I have a dream." And he paused and he launched into his very, very famous speech with more passion than he ever had before. And that is probably, or certainly, our best known version of the I Have a Dream speech, and you'll hear it usually played every year on the radio and on TV on his birthday. So this is a wonderful, wonderful book that I would suggest that you check out on the Texas Bluebonnet list, along with my book, Stay. And I'll be back again to talk about some more books, but in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay sweet, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye.